Hi everyone, and welcome back to a brand new video.
Hello! So today's video is a video that's actually, it was spawned really because on your Instagram, you were doing this thing with the MCU films where it had them and then you were ticking them off as you went.
As I went.
Because you're a complete newbie to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And you were sort of giving little bits of how you felt about each one. But obviously on there you didn't want to give any spoilers at all. But a few of you said you'd be prepared to hear more of an in-depth sort of review of each film. And what we thought we'd do instead is a tier ranking system.
Yes.
So we did that for Disney, didn't we?
The Disney princesses. So if you're brand new to the channel, I watched all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe films in timeline order for the first time. I hadn't seen any of them before, and I watched them all during this lockdown. I think it took me about a month. We were quite quick.
I loved it.
But it was amazing. I loved it, and I really wanted to film this video quite soon, so that it was soon after I'd finished them.
Still fresh in your head. But the big thing we want to say is if you have never watched any of the MCU films, any of the Marvel Cinematic Universe films, and you're planning to, please, we're telling you, don't watch this video because we're going to talk about each film, and within talking about each film, we are probably going to give something away that happens in that film. And if you are planning to watch them, it ruins special to find out those things as you go along. So we're saying here and now, there's gonna be some potential spoilers. We're doing all the way up until Spider-Man Far From Home. So that's a long list of movies. So if you haven't seen all of those, don't watch. Yeah,
please, because I watched them without knowing any spoilers, and I really don't want to take that away from someone. So yeah, if you haven't seen them all, please don't watch it.
Yeah, and then come back once you've finished watching them, because it'll be a nice way to sort of see if you agree or disagree with how we felt about each movie. But yeah, we're going to give you the time now. Stop the video. Okay, you've been warned.
You've been warned.
I am notorious for hating giving away spoilers, so this is right. I'm really panicky right now that you haven't turned off, but I'm hoping that you have.
And then everyone who's still watching, I guess you've seen all the films, so let's get chatting about them.
So we need to talk about, first of all, we've given names to the different categories. So down at the bottom of the list is "So this all seems horrible." So I've tried to go for quotes from different superheroes. So this is the worst you could possibly get.
Yeah, this is the films that we probably wouldn't watch again. And yeah.
And so that's a quote from the Hulk. Then you've got "I've got my eye on you," which is a bit better because it's got your attention slightly.
There's something about the film that we enjoyed, but it's not one of our favourites.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
And that's Nick Fury who says that. "I am still worthy." And we've sort of set that as the middle of the road.
The middle ground. The ones which are really, really good, but they're just not up there with our favourites. Yeah. But they're good films.
I could also, "I'm still worthy," of course, Thor. "I could do this all day," which is one down from the ultimate.
So these are the films which you would watch over and over again. They're the top films.
Yeah. And then, of course, "So I can do this all day" was Captain America's quote. But then we had to, as soon as we thought about this, we were there's only one way to have the top tier, and that's "I Love You 3000.
Oh.
Which is just the ultimate,
our favourite.
You would just pick it to watch.
Yeah.
Because you know how good it is.
Out of this league.
I'll tell you now that I'm gonna struggle putting things in lower tiers.
But you have to remember that at least the top 3, that means they're good films.
Yeah. So... I love them all. Well, there's maybe one that...
You can't love them all 3,000 though.
Okay. Well, we'll try it. We're going to go through it. We've organised the bottom here so you can actually move these round. So if you did this and you wanted to do them in the order that they were released in the cinemas, you could do that. But we've ordered them the way that we watched them.
Yes.
Using the list that we had.
Right, are you ready?
Okay, so remember, there's going to be spoilers.
Also, in the comments, let us know if you agree, what your top films would be, and all of that stuff, because we love hearing like different people's opinions. Okay, so we're starting with Captain America. What was the first one
The
called?
First Avenger.
The First Avenger. So this is the first ever Marvel film I ever watched.
Yeah.
And I remember really enjoying it.
You were straight away invested in the character of Steve Rogers, weren't you?
Yeah, Captain America is one of my favourite Marvel superheroes. We'll probably do like a ranking of the superheroes one day. But even from that first film, he was up there, and I love the setting of it. I love that it's set in
They were talking that they wanted to really do a period piece superhero film to make it a bit different.
I really like Peggy Carter.
Peggy! I love Peggy.
And it's the only film where she's like in it a lot. And I love when you first meet Bucky as well.
Bucky.
And their whole relationship.
It sets a lot off.
It sets a lot up. And I remember really, really liking it. And I think it was the fact of A, the period setting made it really different.
Yeah.
And B, it had Captain America in it.
Chris Evans, who in the past had actually... before I watched this, I was worried because Chris Evans played the Human Torch many years ago in the Fantastic Four, and those films best probably left. And so I was like, oh, how's he going to play Captain America? And I was worried that Captain America was going to be too much of a goody two-shoes.
He is a bit.
And like, but so much so that it was going to be a bit like, oh, would you give it a rest?
Annoying.
But the way that Chris Evans plays it, he immediately like became one of my
He's just
top
such
heroes.
a good guy.
Yeah.
Like, he's a good egg. And also, I do like the relationship that he has with Peggy. And then, obviously, it has a heartbreaking ending. That line where he says, we'll have to rain check.
Rain check on the dance, yeah.
Oh. And it has a really good ending as well. With him, obviously, you don't know really what's happened. Because he obviously gets frozen. And then he comes back, you know.
Yeah.
And you're like, what happened?
And you just want to see more.
What happened all those years?
Yeah.
I feel like I would watch that again. So for me, it's I Am Still Worthy or I Can Do This All Day.
I was going to say it's one of my top films, so I was going to say I Can Do This All Day.
I Can Do This All Day, because I'd watch it again.
Which is where he first says the line.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, next is Captain Marvel. Now, I really did enjoy this film, but since then, it's actually a really controversial film, and I know a lot of people didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I was actually quite surprised because I enjoyed the film.
I enjoyed the film. I enjoyed it watching it. I'd only seen it once before, and so on the second time watching it, I actually enjoyed it more than the first time. And I don't know why that was, but it's got so many great bits to it.
Yeah.
I love that Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson.
I was about to say, Samuel L. Jackson's really good at it, and he's really funny in it.
And he's like in the whole movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't just crop up. And then, I thought that the actual storyline, I thought was a really clever, like, kept you guessing as to what was actually happening.
The only thing I'd say, it was quite confusing, I think, a
Did you
little
find
bit.
it confusing?
Well, like, looking back now, because I've only ever seen them all once, it's probably the one, well, maybe because I watched it early on, but I can't remember too much. Like, there's like
lots of different alien races.
Bits to it. So I think I'd put it in I Am Still Worthy, because I would like to give it a second watch.
Yeah.
But since watching all the rest, it probably wouldn't be the one which I'd be like, oh, let's watch that.
Yeah, because if you watch it in timeline order, I mean, she doesn't reappear again until
the end.
And that's what I had to keep reminding you. I was like, well, if you watch these in cinematic order, then the film wasn't made until...
Yeah, and initially I did like Captain Marvel, but since then, other people have like topped her.
Right, okay.
So I think she's good. She's pretty strong.
Yeah. Very powerful.
But since watching the others, she's not my favourite superhero.
Okay, so...
I think I'm Still Worthy.
I think we need to see a bit more from her, don't
we do.
I Am Still Worthy. Okay, good. Next.
Iron Man.
This is Iron Man. Iron Man was the first one I ever saw. It started the whole thing. I am so passionate about this film. Like, Jon Favreau getting it all organised, and like everyone that worked on that film. Robert Downey just storming that character and just nailing it.
Yeah. It's a
to
good
me,
film.
it's got to be I Love You 3000.
Aww.
That's, to me, it's got to be in there.
Go on then, you can put
Because
it in
it
there.
started it. Without this film, if this film
Yeah.
did not succeed, then it would not have gone on to be what it is now.
Yeah.
It
It's
is
a really strong film. And
powerful.
also, Iron Man, like the actual superhero, was created then. And yeah.
Well, what they were saying, all the behind-the-scenes featurettes are so, like, amazing. You'll probably notice in the Iron Man films that there's a lot of, like, the dialogue, I feel, it feels quite real, the way that they respond to each other. Like, that nobody, like, says something, waits for a line. There's a lot of sort of cross-talk, and it's almost, like, ad-libbed, and they did a lot of ad-lib on set. It's something that the director encouraged, and I just think it gives it such a reality, which was then influential in all the other, you know, grounding it in reality.
Yeah.
Rather than it being like, oh, this is a superhero film. I
would really love to watch that one again. And, like, I do love the story about how the actual Iron Man was created.
Yeah.
And I love, like, how his character develops. Because
Yeah.
right at the beginning, you don't really like the guy. He's very, like, sure of himself. I found him quite annoying.
You, for a long period, I kept asking Helena after sort of every film that Tony Stark appeared in, how do you feel about him now? Because Helena was very much of the opinion, which I can get, of like, well, he's just really self-absorbed and self-obsessed and he's a bit annoying.
But what I like is that he wasn't your typical goody two-shoes superhero that's perfect. Like, there's a lot of depth to him.
Yeah.
And I think, it's, especially in that first Iron Man film, where he's probably at his worst. Like, he's really, like, big-headed in that film.
Yeah.
And then he obviously gets brought back down to earth when he gets captured.
Yeah.
But, like, I think that's probably, like, you see how he, like, changes as it goes along.
And something that was groundbreaking as well is the fact that straight from the off, because films, I think, have suffered from, superhero films have suffered from people having to keep their secret identity. And so the fact that they broke the mould from the very first film and just went, yeah, I'm Iron Man.
That's when he's it's in the press conference right at the end, and he just says, I am Iron Man.
Yeah.
And then the film ends and you're like, oh.
And then, like, for the rest of all the films, sort of not so much with Spider-Man. Well, I say that after Far From Home. But like from then on, everyone's just known the superheroes as who they are.
Okay, so next is Iron Man 2, so it was straight after.
Yes, so you watched, so 2 Iron Man films.
I didn't think Iron Man 2 was as strong as Iron Man, in my opinion.
It's a one that
it felt very much like a sequel.
It felt a bit rushed.
Yeah.
That they were sort of trying to capitalise on it and get something out. It does deserve a position. Oh, I don't know. I wouldn't say it's so this all seems horrible because it introduces Black Widow.
Yes.
Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, true.
Which is really good for the universe.
I would probably put it in I've Got My Eye on You, because I remember liking certain parts, but I can't remember too much about it. I found it a bit boring.
There's a few things that are a bit strange. The one thing that when I watched it back, I was like, how come he's not dead? The character of Whiplash is when they go into the race.
Oh,
right?
at Monte Carlo.
All the cars go around, and then he attacks Tony Stark in the car, and then Happy Hogan runs him over with the car into the wall 3 times, and you haven't been told that he's got any like superhuman powers. Yeah. How does he manage to survive getting rammed by a car 3 times?
I wasn't too keen on that villain. I did like it because obviously it did introduce Black Widow.
Yeah.
Who obviously goes on to like be one of the originals.
Yeah. I'd say I've got my eye on you.
I've got my eye on you.
Yeah, it
feels like a sequel.
It's got a couple of things in it that stand out.
So next is Thor. The first Thor. Does it have like a full name?
No, just called Thor. Yeah, this one. Directed by Kenneth Branagh.
See, this Thor, now I've watched them all, is very different to how Thor is now.
Thor goes on a massive character like journey.
Because Thor was very, like, there were certain funny bits. Like, I love the bit when he's in the cafe and he's like, I like it, another, and then throws down the drink.
Yeah.
And, like, they did have some funny elements, but overall, I found the film quite serious.
Quite straight-laced.
Yeah. And I love Natalie Portman, but her character also was quite... There wasn't anything, like, funny or, like, that likeable.
Yeah, Jane Foster.
I don't know. That was just my personal opinion. But I feel like Thor has changed. And now, like, he's one of, like, the funny, charismatic ones.
I think that's Hemsworth who plays Thor.
Yeah.
Has really, with each film, I think he has said, I want something different. I want something to change. And this, I mean, it's almost where you've got Kenneth Branagh who directs it, and it's a bit Shakespearean, isn't it?
It is. Maybe that's why it felt different to, like, the other ones. Because it was quite Shakespearean, and a lot of it is set with, like, the gods.
Yeah.
One
thing that is amazing, though, that I didn't realise, unfortunately, he does get recast later on. He must have been busy or something. The guy, I can't remember his name in real life, but the guy that plays Prince Charming in Once Upon a Time is one of Thor's friends in this.
I mean, he always pops up in all the other Thor films.
Yeah, but it's a different character.
Yeah, it's a different guy.
actor. I think it's important because it introduces...
Do you think it's worthy?
I think I'm still worthy because I do love the look of it and how different it is, and it also introduces Loki.
Yes.
We're gonna go for that.
It does have some epic action scenes as well, like the whole ending. So next is The Incredible Hulk, which it wasn't on Disney Plus. We had to watch it on Netflix, and we did sit through it all. But it was probably one of the worst films I've watched in a long time. I didn't enjoy it.
I'm a huge Hulk fan.
Like
The character has always been one of my favourites. And unfortunately, this did not set the character of the Hulk up very well for Helena.
What we noticed about the film, there was no dialogue in it.
Well, there was, but it was very short, snappy sentences, like 3 words.
And there was no, like, I found the acting not very good. Like, there wasn't that much emotion going on at any point.
I did some research, and Edward Norton, I think that's his name, who played it, had his hands all over it, and apparently was doing, like, rewrites and all this sort of stuff. And I don't think it had somebody, like, actually holding onto it and organising it properly.
There would be some scenes where it would literally be like, he would ask a question and she'd go, okay. That would be like the
What was
scene.
the line she kept saying? Oh,
okay,
it was
something.
okay, or something.
It was something like that. Like, I didn't feel like had any depth. The Incredible Hulk as a character was really boring. Like, the guy playing it.
Yeah, well, he was never in any... Well, the Hulk, when he turned into the Hulk, was never really in any threat or danger, because it was just people shooting guns and tanks at him, and it's like, well, we know that doesn't do anything. I
didn't think it was a very strong movie, which was a shame, because the rest of the Marvel films are so good.
It felt like it didn't have any of the ingredients of the other films.
No.
Like, it felt a very much standalone...
I wouldn't watch it again.
...movie that was very serious, almost playing it too serious.
Yeah, so it got a bit silly because they were so serious about it.
Phil Dunphy's in it.
Yes, and he doesn't care. So, like...
Ty Burrell.
He's with, what's her name? I can't remember. Betty. And so they're meant to be together... And then she just leaves to go off with the Hulk.
Doesn't care.
And he's not bothered at all.
No.
In fact, he's, like, happy. I didn't get it. There was just no... I didn't feel for any of the characters. And what was a shame is that it took me a long time to like the Hulk.
Yeah, because of
that film.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't like it. I don't like the character. I find him, like, annoying.
I don't know how this version of the Hulk would have fit in to the Avengers.
Different.
They would have all found him very annoying.
Yeah, I'm really glad they recast him. Right, so this seems horrible.
But I just think it's such a shame that we didn't have Mark Ruffalo in a solo movie.
Yeah, and because they've done it now, whether they'll do it again, I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
It would have to be
the Hulk on his own in a movie has always been quite difficult to do. But yeah, we're sorry if you really love this movie. Like, again, this is just our opinion of it, but it just wasn't... It didn't seem to mesh with the rest of the films as we went along. It was very, like, jarring.
So next is The Avengers. So this is the first Avengers film.
This is hard for me to... I've got to try and think about what else is coming along.
I know.
But this is a really special movie. This was the Avengers, the first Avengers. I remember being so excited when I went to the cinema to watch this. And like the first time we've got a movie where all your superheroes are getting together. They're fighting each other. There's all this witty repartee between them all.
I turned to you and was like, because the ones I'd watched before, and I remember turning to you and being like, I love when they're all together. Like, this was the first time where I got really excited, and they always do that scan where the camera goes round.
It's a famous shot now.
When they're in New York, I think, in the first one. And I just remember that shot. I was like, right, we're getting into it now.
Yeah. The Hulk is redeemed. The Hulk comes in, he's Mark Ruffalo. This was the problem. So in Hulk films, normally you don't care about the guy that's playing Bruce Banner. You only care about him turning into the Hulk. But with Mark Ruffalo, he's just such a likeable guy.
And I really like the relationship that starts in this film between him and Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Like, I like their little
bromance.
Their little bromance, but also, like, they get at each other a little bit.
Yeah.
This is also where you start to see, like, the tension between Tony Stark and Captain America. Like, because Tony Stark obviously thinks he's just such a goody two-shoes.
Put on the suit. Loki's, like, the main villain.
Yes.
Which is great.
What do you think?
I mean, at the moment, I'm thinking I Love You 3000.
Oh, I'm thinking I can do this all day. There are stronger Avenger films. But I can do this all day means that it's an amazing film.
Can I put it in I Love You 3000 and then we'll see what happens later on? And then if I have to move some, I can move it.
Shall we allow it?
Come on!
Okay, I think I don't think it's on par. I think you'll change your mind. Next is...
It's Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3. Remind me again of what this one is.
So Iron Man 3 is where you have the Mandarin who's doing all the broadcasts as like a terrorist.
Yes.
And
that was weird.
You...
Yeah, I remember now.
You believe in him as like a really strong villain.
And then he turns out to be an actor. And a very weird actor at that.
It's Ben Kingsley, very well-known, famous actor.
No, but his character was very weird. Like, I kind of liked it, but it also jarred me a little bit. It was like, oh, I don't know. I kind of got what they were doing.
I enjoyed it more this time when I watched it, but I think I went to the cinema to watch it. And being an Iron Man fan, and like having watched the cartoon series and stuff like that, and think the Mandarin, and then he comes out of the bathroom and he's an actor and it's not him, and I was like in the cinema I think went, what?
Yeah. It was quite funny. Like, it was funny. I feel like maybe I'm still worthy
because you've also got the thing of Tony being a nervous wreck from everything that's happened in the Avengers. Whatever you're gonna say.
And I quite liked their whole It's funny because you say at the end of Avengers Endgame at the funeral,
yes,
there's like a boy standing on his own, a man standing on his own, and it's meant to be that boy that he meets in Iron Man 3 when he's having his panic attacks.
Yeah,
and I liked that little story.
I did.
And then at the end he sends him all of that machinery to start his own. What was it? What was he starting his own?
No, just got it because he was a bit of a scientist.
I liked that whole story, and also to show as well that Tony Stark has that side, that vulnerable side.
Yeah. When
he was suffering.
Gwyneth Paltrow had a bit more to do in this one. Maybe...
It doesn't really live up to Iron Man.
Okay, let's do I've Got My Eye on You.
There's some really lovely parts to it, but I think there's also quite a lot of it that lets it down.
Okay. Thor The Dark World, even though it's got Christopher Eccleston in, who, you know, has been the Doctor in Doctor Who, and who I really like. Unfortunately, I heard a lot of stories from many different actors about the fact that they did not enjoy making this film.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me.
And it's even more serious than the original Thor.
Yeah.
I'm not too keen on it. It's a one that I don't ever really want to go back and watch.
No, I don't think I'd watch it again.
It's very confusing.
Yeah, I don't remember too much about it.
It's a very confusing plot, which they tried to sort of straighten out a little bit when it came to doing Infinity War and Endgame.
I think that might have to go on the bottom for me.
Oh, so this all seems horrible.
I don't think I'd watch it again.
I might have to agree with you, even though I do love Hemsworth. Okay,
There's
let's do
only
it.
certain parts of that. I've only seen it once, and it was like about a month ago now. And there's only certain parts of that film that I remember.
Oh, Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
This is a good film.
It's just, you go into basically a spy thriller. They completely change genres. And they make Captain America much more of like a Jason Bourne kind of guy.
And I like the whole reveal as well, that he is the Winter Soldier, and and I like that you see like what happened to him, like his story, because obviously like in the first Captain America film, like you just think he's dead, he's gone.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see like what happened between all that time.
And this is Captain America really having to now adjust to being in the real world. And it's got the introduction of Falcon.
Yes, I was about to say, his friend Falcon. I like their dynamic. I like all that. I'm really excited for Falcon and Winter Soldier as well.
It's got loads of cool action scenes. Yeah, like on the tanker, or the ship at the beginning. And the big fight that happens in the elevator.
Oh,
do you remember that?
Yeah,
oh,
when he's waiting.
That's so good. The Captain America movies are so good. I mean, it's I Can Do This All Day or I Love You 3000.
I Can Do This All Day.
Oh, well, we've got two in each.
Yeah, go on. I think it's I Can Do This All Day.
Okay, I Can Do This All Day. Captain America's doing very well so far.
Next is Guardians of the Galaxy. So this completely like switched it up and changed like the direction we were going in. I'd heard a lot about these films. I know that there are a lot of people's like favourite standalone films. And also I feel like a lot of people have watched these even if they haven't watched all the Marvel films.
Yeah.
What I loved about this is how different it was, and the different feel and the use of music.
The soundtrack's amazing.
Is amazing. And it's so light-hearted compared to the others. Even though like there's a lot of action and a lot of stuff happens, it just has that light-hearted fun film.
The humour is a real factor. They sort of it's more of a comedy, I think. There's a lot of stuff in there. It's
and
very
also
comedic.
You've got like Groot.
Oh yeah.
And you've got these like really weird, what's the wrestler's
Rocket.
name?
Oh no, Batista.
Yeah,
who
like,
plays Drax.
Totally random guy that comes out with such random like
that's another reason why I love these films.
Like the characters as a whole, like they are just a bunch of misfits all put together. I love the friendship between them all and how they all bicker. And obviously you've got Star-Lord, who's like not your typical hero at all, and also tends to make stuff worse before he actually makes it better. So I really enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy, although the first one wasn't my favourite compared to the second one.
Which is interesting because I know that a lot of people don't like the second one that much.
But I think it's because of Baby Groot.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll deal with Guardians of the Galaxy first. Gamora's fantastic. I love all the individual characters. And I love the family dynamic that they have. And you just feel really attached to them when you watch them. And Rocket is just... it's just mad.
The characters are weird, aren't they?
To get him into a movie and make him look so good. And then I think something that really makes me love Rocket even more is even though Bradley Cooper does the voice, the guy that portrays Rocket on set most of the time is a guy called Sean Gunn, who plays Kirk in the Gilmore Girls.
Yeah. I think I'm Still Worthy.
Oh, I think it's higher than that. Although I don't know, because where are you going to put Guardians of the Galaxy?
I was going to put Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and I Can Do This.
I still think this is too low, but
put it.
I'm gonna let you go with it.
Or we put them both and I Can Do This All Day. I think it's just because of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I really love the opening. I love the dance routine.
The best opening to any film, Baby Groot dancing to Mr. Blue Sky.
I just loved Baby Groot. Like, I really, really enjoyed Baby Groot. And also, I love the whole ending with that beautiful song. Like, I find it quite emotional.
Yeah.
I can't remember what song it is.
I can't remember
now.
what song. Oh, it's
about fathers, isn't it? Or it's about...
Yeah, it's the one that's covered by the boy band, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm old, but I'm happy.
Yeah, I found that whole bit like really lovely.
That was really nice, yeah.
So I think maybe should we put Guardians of the Galaxy both, and I can do this
Let's
today.
put them both
because
in.
I feel like we would watch them over and over again.
Yeah.
They're probably the films which I would just like put on if I wanted to watch something.
Kurt Russell's in it. He's a legend.
Also, I really like, what's the guy who first like adopts Star-Lord?
Oh, I always forget his name.
But I like their whole dynamic as well.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
Yeah, and I like that. Well, I certainly did initially. I thought he wasn't a good guy. I thought he was quite a bad guy. And then you finally found out that he did it all for Star-Lord to protect him because he knew that his dad wanted, like...
Yondu.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's got the cool thing with whistling.
Yeah, so I like that whole dynamic as well. Avengers Age of Ultron. Now, I have issues with this film.
This brought out a lot of Helena just... I don't know, you were really like... You were like, what are they doing?
I got annoyed at them because obviously Tony Stark creates the whole villain in the film, and it's all their fault. So I kind of couldn't get over the fact that even though they were defeating, I can't remember what Ultron, that they had caused it themselves.
They caused it all themselves,
and like, that was obviously that starts the debate of whether they are causing more havoc than good.
And you were going on about like, but they're just destroying all this property. They're just destroying all these buildings. You had it. You really had it in for the Hulk on this movie. I remember as well.
Because the Hulk hadn't he hadn't controlled his anger yet, and also they couldn't control him. So half the time he was like trying to kill them.
You were like, I wouldn't have Hulk on my team.
No, you wouldn't trust him.
And I was always having to defend the Hulk.
So this is the one where we meet Wanda for the first time.
It is. There you go. Yeah.
So you meet Wanda and Petro.
Yes, Petro. I think. Yeah.
And Wanda, is one of my favourites.
Yeah. We're not saying anything on WandaVision, but she is. She's just grown into such an amazing character.
So I really like the introduction of them. They were a little bit different. They were a little bit odd. I like how she, I think it's the fight scene where, is it Hawkeye says to her, you go out there and you fight and you become an Avenger.
Yeah.
And I like that whole bit where she discovers her how strong she actually is.
Yeah.
And she can defeat it all. So there are some redeeming elements to it.
It's not my favourite Avengers film.
There's just something about it. I think because the villains was made by, I think it's that's the issue.
This could have all been prevented.
Yeah. I lost my...
I think it's I've Got My Eye on You.
Do you think?
For me.
Yeah?
It's not... If I was going to go back and watch an Avengers movie...
You wouldn't pick that one.
It's not the one I would go to, but it still has some really
It has really good elements to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so next is Ant-Man.
Love it.
This was good, and we really didn't think it was going to be good. I think it was because of the name, and quite a lot of people have said this to me, that they put off watching it because it was called Ant-Man, and the whole premise of it, they just thought, oh, this sounds a bit naff. But then they watched it, and they really enjoyed it, and it was exactly the same for us.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd is so good.
Paul Rudd is amazing. The cast is just brilliant. You've got Michael Douglas in there. But then also you've got the Wasp, who isn't the Wasp at that point. But I love the fact that he's only become Ant-Man because Hank Pym doesn't want his daughter... He doesn't want to lose his daughter.
Yeah.
She has all of the skills, maybe even more skills than
he
has.
He's a very lucky guy half the time. And he's very clever, but obviously he does initially, he's not using that for good.
Yeah.
What I like about him as well, he's not your typical superhero. He's not he's not a good guy, really.
He feels very relatable in the fact is that he tends to ask a lot of the questions that you as an audience member would ask.
Yeah, it's what's going on?
And then when
he's very normal.
Yeah, when he meets certain people later on, where he meets the Avengers and he's almost awestruck.
Yeah, he does seem like your normal guy that you'd find down the road. So the fact that he's Ant-Man.
You love his friends.
I love his friends. I can't remember the guy's name, but the one that tells all the stories. And then they do that thing where like they're talking, but it's his voice. He's like, and then this whole look. I love that whole bit. I really enjoyed it.
I'm tempted for I Can Do This All Day.
Me too, because I think I would watch it.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah.
In you go.
I also love the relationship between him and his daughter.
Yeah.
I love his daughter and like...
I was also going to say, sorry if we forget any of the characters' names and stuff. There's so much to try and remember, isn't
and
it?
I've only ever seen them once. I'm trying to remember them all.
Right, Captain America Civil War.
I loved this film. I loved Captain America Civil War more than I loved the first Avengers.
And again, this is something that is different to what a lot of people think. A lot of people think that Winter Soldier's better than Civil War, and Civil War's got issues to it, but I loved what they did with this. I thought it had a really good story, and the emotion, particularly like at the end where you find out about Bucky and Tony Stark's
Killing
family
his
and
parents. That made me go like, because also you can see both sides. That's what I like. There wasn't a clear like they're in the right, they're in the wrong. Obviously Captain America was sticking up for his friend because Captain America is like the most loyal person ever.
Yeah.
So I understand why he's sticking up for Bucky and helping him out, but then at the same time what Bucky did was so horrendous, so you understand why Tony Stark is like devastated and angry. Also the whole like dynamic between whether the Avengers are doing good or bad, like you can see both sides. So it was never clear for me which team I was on. Because I sort of like went between the two.
Even though with Iron Man you found him a bit annoyed and stuff, you saw his point.
I saw his point of view, especially Age of Ultron, like what happened there. I understood why, he didn't want to, kill these civilians, even though it was for good. They were the ones which were causing all that havoc. And
they start giving Captain America a bit more of like, he's not so much like just goody two shoes all the time. He's a bit more like...
Well, he was on...
in the middle.
The non-government side. So he was on like the illegal side.
And when he says he knew.
Yeah. And he didn't tell him.
I really want to watch it. But this, for me, the fight that they all have in the airport...
That whole section, and then Spider-Man out of nowhere.
Spider-Man!
Like, he's in it.
He
and
turns
he's
up.
so... Like, that whole fight scene when he just... I can't remember who turns to him and he's like, I don't know if this is your first fight, but there's normally not this much talking.
Yeah.
Because Spider-Man's just chatting away from the whole thing.
Like he does in the comics.
And how, like, awestruck... He's, like, fighting against Captain America, but he's, like, so awestruck by him.
Chadwick Boseman turns up for the first time as Black Panther. Which is really special.
I don't like... I know you say that some people really don't like it, but I remember finishing the film and being like, that was epic.
I'd be quite happy to put that in I Love You 3000.
Yeah.
I Love You 3000's turned into the list of films that I just want to go back and watch now.
Well, that's what they should be. Oh, I put it in the wrong...
Oh, that's alright.
There we are.
Okay.
Next is... Oh, it's Black Panther.
Black Panther follows on.
Black Panther was a cool film. It was really different.
Yeah.
Really different. It was beautifully shot. Mm-hmm. Like the scenes of Wakanda, like, were insane.
And the way that they like sort of made Wakanda look, and they created their own society, their own rituals, and
you got your Wakanda top on.
I've got my Wakanda top on. I watched
I remember those fights on the edge of that cliff.
Yeah.
Made me hold my breath the whole time.
If you watch the films on Disney Plus, then they've got extras on every film, which I watched after every film, and there's a great one where it's a round table with like some of the people from the comics from over the years, and then also like the filmmakers, and they were just talking about how special this film was, the way that they put it together, the way the character was portrayed.
Such a special place in everyone's heart, especially because of Chadwick and how incredible an actor he was, that it makes the film even more special. Mm-hmm.
He auditioned for... Oh, I can't remember what it is now. He auditioned for another role within the MCU. But Drax! He auditioned for Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
And they showed a bit of a screen test in one of the documentaries, and they just said that he wasn't quite right because it was a bit too serious for like what they wanted for Drax. But they thought that he had such a stillness and a power to him that when it came round to Black Panther, immediately thought...
They already... So it was like fate, really, that he auditioned for that in the first place.
That's happened to quite a few people. The guy who plays Star-Lord, he auditioned for Captain America back in the day.
I could not imagine that. It just reminds me of Parks and Rec. I love the relationship between Black Panther and his sister.
Shuri, yeah.
She is so cool. And she's going to become a lot more, isn't she? She's going to
we hope so, with what they're going to do with Black Panther 2, because obviously they've had to change it. I mean, in the comic books, Shuri becomes Black Panther.
Which would be incredible. I really like her. I love all the female characters in this film.
Watching it a second time, I just found that it was so much like... A lot of it was a bit like James Bond. You won't know because you haven't watched a lot of James Bond films, but they talked about this in the round table thing. I mean, you've got the Q scene, which is where Bond normally goes and gets his gadgets. And they did that with Shuri and Black Panther. And then they also like had a scene in a casino, which was very much like sort of like James Bond. And so I was watching it a second time and I thought, yeah, this draws a few similarities. It's one of the movies where because sometimes the villains in the movies, they're one and done. Like they appear and they're gone, and they don't really have that much of a backstory. This is a character that they really worked on for the villain, that he had a valid point.
Yeah, I remember thinking, like, obviously he's not going about it the right way, but yeah, you see his point of view and you see how what happened in his life led him to that point where, you know, he just wanted to... Yeah,
it's just that thing of how come they're not helping? Yeah,
it was a strong film.
It's a very good film. What do you
think?
Do
you think I Can Do This All Day?
I even think it might be I Love You 3000, based on how impactful it has been in the world as well.
Yeah. Whew. Next is... Spider-Man. Homecoming.
There's been a lot of Spider-Man films. Helena hasn't seen any of the other Spider-Man films.
I've only seen this universe ones.
I love Tom Holland. Spider-Man's always been one of my favourites. Again, I used to watch the cartoon
for that part.
When I was a kid. I had a Spider-Man annual that my nana had, who always used to read. It's just... It's like a coming-of-age story.
Yeah.
The dynamic between Tony Stark and Spider-Man is something that I didn't see coming. I didn't know that was going to be like the thing.
That relationship is incredible. Like how he's like a mentor, also like a dad. Mm-hmm. Like, I love it. And how much Spider-Man looks up to Tony.
Yeah.
Like, he would do anything for him. And other way around as well. Like, Tony would do anything for Spider-Man.
Yeah. Maybe I Can Do This All Day.
I Can Do This All Day. It'd definitely be one which I'd watch again. I also like the whole, I think what you said, like coming of age feel. Mm-hmm, like it's a bit different, especially because it's set in a high school and then he's got all his friends which are just living their normal high school life.
Yeah.
And he has to hold this secret the whole time. I love his friend.
Yeah. The man in the chair.
I Can Do This All Day, yeah?
Yeah. They got a lot at the top here.
I know.
This is another great one. Ant-Man and the Wasp. I loved Ant-Man and the Wasp even more than Ant-Man. This was the first time I'd seen it. Watching it with Helena. I loved that she was now the Wasp. Mm-hmm. And that she was showcasing her skills. I
love like their dynamic. I like them both together.
Yeah.
I also like the whole story of finding her mum.
Yes. Michael Douglas gets to do a bit more. Yeah. In this as well.
Oh.
It's one of my favourite Stan Lee cameos. In this movie is when he's stood by the car and the car shrinks and he's like, oh well, I knew I'd have to pay for the 60s or something.
70s.
I can't remember. Yeah.
I need to watch a video. I'm sure someone's done it with all his cameos.
Yeah.
I think it should go in I Can Do This All Day, but I don't know whether Ant-Man should go down one.
What, you think put Ant-Man and the Wasp in I Can Do This All Day and move Ant-Man down to I'm Still Worthy? Okay, let's do that then, for now.
Yeah?
Yeah. Right, Doctor Strange. First time I'd seen this as well.
That was really, really interesting, Doctor Strange.
I didn't know what to expect. I thought I might not get into it.
Yeah.
Just because I knew it was a lot to do with, like, bending reality and stuff like that.
It really made you think. I also really like the character. He's completely different. Again, he's very big-headed initially, and you don't really like him.
Oh, yeah. No.
I really didn't like him at the beginning. He was really horrible to his love interest. I can't remember her name now.
Yeah.
But it grew on me, and he grew on me, and I really loved the I can't remember her name, but the main woman.
Yes.
Who, controls everything. I would probably put it in.
I loved the way it looked. It was very clever. I was like, how did they even put this together? Sorry, I'm on my phone. I'm just searching for names.
Yeah, I can't remember her name.
So Rachel McAdams, who you referred to, was Christine, and then the Ancient One.
Oh, it's just called the Ancient One. I thought that character was really interesting because she's like good, but also bad. Like, I liked that dynamic of why she,
Yeah. I get you. Yeah.
Controlling it.
Mm-hmm. This, I really did like Doctor Strange.
It was good.
I thought the ending to Doctor Strange, the way that he defeats the villain just by annoying him,
just
was
keeps
so
repeating
different.
himself. Yeah, that was clever.
Let's put it in. I can do this all day for the moment. Right, Thor Ragnarok. I Love You 3000 for me.
It's a good film. The only thing about it is that once you've watched it and then you watch the next film, you're like, oh, well, that was all pointless.
Well, no, because some of them do get away. Some of them do get away.
It's just funny because obviously, like, they rescue all these people, put them in that spaceship, and then the star of Avengers, Infinity War, destroys.
It's dark, very dark.
But other than that, it was definitely my favourite Thor film. I feel like they really found Thor's character. The story was good. I really like that Loki was in a lot of it.
The Hulk was portrayed really well. You actually got to see a lot more of the Hulk, and he was talking and stuff. He was like, he'd controlled a bit more of himself.
Yeah, and he was
Valkyrie.
Yeah,
was introduced as well. Although you don't like flying horses, do you?
No, I don't like unicorns. They scare me.
Although you like Hercules.
I
like
know, Pegasus. He's a cartoon. But yeah, no, it's it was one of my favourite, well, probably my favourite Thor film.
It's my favourite Thor film, and it's a film that I would, if you asked me which film I want to watch, because of how fun it is, I'd watch it.
Yeah, had good music as well, I remember.
Good music. Oh, what's the name of the, what's the name of the Boulder Man?
Oh.
He's so good.
I can't remember. He's so calm all the time. He's just like, whatever.
He's so good. And it's actually the director. Korg, yeah.
He's a director.
The director is the guy that plays Korg.
Ah, he's so good.
And then Jeff Goldblum is just playing Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah. He's a good villain, but he is just Jeff.
I Love You 3000 for me.
Okay.
Because Thor had been a bit of it was just a bit of a lost character, I felt. Mm-hmm. And then they really, fixed it.
Yeah.
Fixed a lot of the problems.
We're moving into the big guns now. Avengers Infinity War. So this was, one of the most epic films. So much happened.
I'm just glad it lived up to the hype. Because I kept saying that it was one of the best ones. And also, the shocking ending that Thanos wins. And, you said that never happens. Yeah, if it was... in any film. In a hugely commercial movie, if you say to the studio, oh, yeah, he wins. Let's have the villain win. It doesn't and it's really quite happen. Chilling at the end. Obviously, half the population wipes out, half of the Avengers wipe out, and then he's just sat on that throne. At the end. Chilling on holiday. And you were at the end, you were I really dislike Thanos. It was really... it just leaves you with that, especially if it's your first time watching and you haven't watched Endgame, it leaves you with that, oh, they lost. It didn't work. Because it's worked every single time before then. The way that they managed to create little pockets of different characters. They call it strange alchemy. I learnt this from the director's commentary and the story writer's commentary. It was about like which characters would mesh well together. The way that they get them all split up.
They split them up, don't
and the way that they still keep you on track with what the actual plot is. The plot is very simple, and that's what the screenwriters were saying.
It feels like a lot happens.
Thanos just trying to get hold of the stones.
All the stones.
It's a very simple plot, and they build you up in the way that you've got Thor. He's on his quest to get the weapon to kill Thanos. You think, right, he's going to get that weapon. He's going to come in at the end. He's going to save the day.
Yeah.
And then the way they flip it round at the end, you should have gone for the head. And it just, these last few films really cement Thor as just a fantastic character. I mean, he was before, but it just takes him to another level.
The first 10 minutes of that film, I remember just being so shocked. I was like, they've killed Loki within the first 10 minutes. And then from then you were like, anything can happen now in this film.
That's what they wanted.
Done that so initially.
That's what they wanted to do. They wanted to bring the tone right down, tell you that it was going to be like a big stakes movie, and then that anything, all bets are off now.
Yeah.
Like anything could happen.
I Love You 3000.
Yeah, I mean,
it's an epic film.
I love it. So then we moved straight on to Endgame. Helena didn't have to wait a year.
No, I watched it the next day. So both of these films felt like one big film for me, because we watched it over the weekend.
Yeah.
They all, obviously it leads straight on, so like it all merged together for me. I feel like it's the perfect film to end the Avengers films.
Well, in terms of the
so far.
Phases that they've had, because this was the whole build up from the very first movie, like.
And I love how they kind of hark back to, they like hark back to like where you met them and stuff, some of the like, so
you go back to some, so it features the time travel sort of concept, which again I think divides quite a lot of people. I'm a fan of the whole time travel thing, so I didn't mind it at all. But like you go back into different movies, almost like Back to the Future, where you go within a movie. But
it was quite nice because it tied it all together, and it kind of reminded you of the like story that you've been on.
Yeah.
Obviously it has a very sad ending. The ending is incredibly heartbreaking with Tony Stark's death, and I remember saying to you, it's like his whole life he's been so selfish, self-centered. He's done everything for his own gain in pretty much all of the films.
Yeah.
And then his death is like the most selfless death anyone could have done. It's just funny that that's how he died.
If you go all the way back to the first Avengers film, I think there's a scene where Captain America's talking to Iron Man, Tony Stark, and says something about, are you the guy that'd be willing to give up your life for something? And at that point, probably not. But then it turns right round, and
he literally goes from one extreme to the other, and he becomes like the ultimate hero. Yeah. And that whole like with Spider-Man.
But it was also saying goodbye to the actor. It was saying goodbye to Robert Downey, who had just been like the grandfather of,
He'd been
Marvel
like the
universe.
backbone of it.
Yeah.
So that had like a really strong meaning to the film.
Yeah.
Also like seeing Captain America's story and the fact that he was able to go back and be with Peggy.
You had a few questions. You were a bit like,
that took me a while to like work out
how does this work?
How that worked.
I don't know if I fully comprehended how it all goes together.
But I just used to wonder about he wouldn't be able to leave the house because
because he wouldn't be able to tell anybody. Yeah. Yeah.
So like there are a few questions there, but I love the sentiment of what happened and that he did get to live that life with Peggy, and also he lived that life not being a superhero, like lived that normal life.
Yeah. He'd done enough.
So I love that ending for him.
Black Widow, that the scene between her and Hawkeye.
I didn't know who was going to be the one. I really didn't know up until the point where it happened. I was like, No, they won't kill Black Widow. I think it's because it's like the three originals, Black Widow, Captain America and Iron Man, were like the three pillars.
Well, all the way through, what was funny was that's why I kept asking Eleanor after every film Iron Man was in. I was like, how do you feel about Iron Man? Because I knew it was leading to this. And then there was, I think in Infinity War, you were watching it going, oh, they can't kill... They won't kill them off. They won't kill
the originals. In my head, I was like, Black Widow, Iron Man, Captain America, always going to be fine. I thought if they were to kill anyone, it'd be like Hawkeye or like...
Poor Hawkeye.
No, but like, not the... Are they... In my head, they were like the main ones. And the fact that all three of them... I mean, Captain America doesn't.
Captain America.
But, you know, he's old now. All three of them kind of end in that film.
Yeah.
It was like... Whoa!
It's a special movie because it's the end of what they started at the very beginning.
I think it has to go in I Love You 3000.
Yeah.
It can't not.
I got this is my watch list for when I'm on the exercise bike.
We've reached the last one. Spider-Man Far From Home, which was the recent watch.
Yeah, we had to watch this.
Really good film.
I had to watch it on Amazon because it wasn't on Disney Plus.
I really enjoyed it. I loved the whole that it was set in Europe. I loved that.
It was like a weird road trip movie.
Yeah. Again, it was so... It had really like emotional parts to it because obviously they remembered Tony Stark in it. But overall, it had a completely light-hearted, different feel to it compared to the two Avengers.
But it was really tied in nicely to like Infinity War and Endgame. Of course, it would have to be because I mean, Spider-Man was a huge part of what happened during that time. And
I like that Spider-Man's becoming more confident. He's starting to like believe that he can actually be an Avenger and take over in a way from Tony.
Yeah.
Although he makes probably the biggest decision, like stupid decision ever when he hands over
Tony Stark's glasses
to that guy.
Yeah.
The villain.
You knew he was iffy though, didn't you? Mysterio.
Oh, I knew he was iffy from the beginning. So the fact that he does that, you're just like, come on. But I really enjoyed it. I really like the Spider-Man films. I could watch them again.
Yeah, I loved it. But the end credits were just... We sat there going... Because, up until this point, I thought they would never break Spider-Man having a secret identity. And then they go and blow it in the end credits.
In the vlog, it's in the Avengers Weekend vlog, and I just go... Because I'm literally like, I can't believe it. So, like, what's going to happen in the next film?
And they also got J. Jonah Jameson, the same guy that played him in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. He's playing the character again, which was that was my first. And then, revealing who he is.
We're a big fan of the Spider-Man films. I feel like they might have to go in I Can Do This All Day, because we would watch them again.
Yeah, let's do I Can Do This All Day, yeah.
Right. Oh! So we've done it. Yeah, I'm happy with that.
I'm happy with that.
The only one I would move down to I Can Do This All Day is the first Avengers, just because I don't think it's as strong as Avengers Infinity and Avengers Endgame, but we'll keep it there. I know that you love it. I can't believe, if you're still with us, we should have a code name for the comments, like if you watched it all.
The code name?
I am Groot. If you've watched the whole of this video...
that'd be funny to see just I am Groot.
Type I am Groot in the comments. Because that would be amazing, because it's definitely going to be a long one.
Yeah.
It was fun though.
It's going to be the amount of movies, and you said you wanted to hear us sort of talk a bit more about them.
But yeah, I think I need a little lie down and a cup of tea after that. But thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe for a lot more videos. We'll have our reacting to our Disneyland Paris vlog series that will be continuing, and also lots more home vlogs as well. But thanks so much as always, and we'll see you in our next one. Bye.
Toodle Poopski.